Three, two, one, and we're on. Señor Escariño,
What's going on, brother?
thank you for coming.
Hey, thanks for having me.
I see we're back from Fifi, from
Yes.
Phuket, from Bangkok, Thailand.
Absolutely.
From well, you went to Turkey, right? On the
Yeah,
way back.
I had to stop in Turkey.
How was that with all the stuff going on?
It was terrible.
Was it?
They found out that I was American,
No.
and they started to berate me with questions about America.
Really?
They asked me about Star Wars.
Did they?
Yeah.
What was the question on Star Wars?
The guy was like, tell me a Star Wars plot. Who's in Star Wars? And I'm like, well, which episode? And the minute I started talking about episodes, this guy was like, get out of here. Next in line.
He's like, I'm not ready. I wasn't ready.
He's, I'm not ready.
Dude, I get it. I never get that when I go to Asia or Middle East, but I get that a lot in Europe. I remember one time I was coming back. It was during Thanksgiving, and it was in Amsterdam, and the guy goes, they were asking all the questions, and what it was is I had been in Thailand and Vietnam and all that, and the last 2 days I was just in Dubai, just like coming back.
Yeah.
So I was only there for 2 days in the Middle East, and the guy's like, "Why were you in the Middle East for such a short time?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm like, look at my passport. I've been traveling.
Yeah.
I'm coming back from there." And then he goes, he's like, "No." He goes, "Why were you there? Why were you there?" He's según él interrogating, right?
Yeah.
And then he calls over his supervisor, and then they start talking in Dutch or whatever language they speak.
Yeah.
And then he stops, and then he looks at me and he goes, "Do you speak our language?" And I look at him like, "No." And then they keep on talking. I'm thinking, like, if I was like a badass like spy or terrorist, I would be like, "Yeah, I don't speak,"
Right.
and I could know everything that they're saying. Like,
Right.
I was like, "You're the worst interrogator ever, dude." So
Yeah.
I was like, and then like they just looked at me, and I'm like, "Well, I'm like, am I staying in Amsterdam forever, or what's going on here?" And they're just like, "Get on the plane." I was like, "All right, cool."
That's awesome.
But yeah,
It's unfortunate, but awesome at the same time.
yeah, I always think to myself, like, what's the worst that could possibly happen? They keep you in the country, like.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, I think you'd prove yourself worthy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like Thor.
Yeah. You're just. I guess. Yeah. I don't know. I maybe I shouldn't want to be in that situation to find out, but
Yeah, that could be tough. It can go south really fast.
yeah, right. Then I'm on one of those episodes of Locked Up Abroad.
Yeah, that'd
Talking
be
about,
terrible.
yeah, I thought it was funny at the airport, and now
Watch Unsolved Mysteries. Louis Tahuya was a mild-mannered man.
yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, thank you for coming, bro. I appreciate it. I know you're really busy right now, especially coming back after vacation.
Yeah.
How's the jet lag?
It's trying. I woke up at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
last night, and the night before was like 3 a.m.
Yeah.
So hopefully I can get to 9 or 8, 7 in the morning. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's the trick with jet lag. You just can't fall asleep. You have to like make your body stay awake as long as you can, so you could get used to going back to sleep. And the worst part about jet lag, not to scare you, is that just when you think your sleeping pattern is back to normal, all it takes is for you to stay up like one night past a certain time.
Oh, man,
and your
really?
body switches back to
Oh,
it's
man.
like it's all whack again.
Well, thanks for letting me know that.
Yeah,
So
so
I'm gonna keep an eye on that.
be careful with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
jet lag. It hasn't been. It's not fun, but
Yeah.
I use the time wisely. I guess I edit. So
Yeah, same here. Like I'm like, well, I'm up. Let me go work. Let me go do this. Let me go do that. So tell everybody who you are, bro. What you do first, and then we could.
yeah.
Start from
So
the beginning.
my name is Antonio Andre
Okay.
Escarino.
Okay.
My confirmation name is Isaiah.
Okay.
So I got that in grade school. So Antonio Andre Isaiah Escarino.
You use all three?
No, not even. It's just that that's going real deep.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
But Andre is my middle name.
Andre.
I'm a realtor with Realty of Chicago.
Okay.
And I run a podcast called The Realtor of Chicago.
Realtor of Chicago.
Yeah, Spotify. Yeah.
Nice. So everybody calls you Tony here.
Yeah.
But like growing up, that's what everybody called you, Tony, or did they call you Andre?
No,
Antonio?
it was Tony.
Yeah.
It was Tony for forever. My parents wanted me known as Tony more than anything, but my father's name, my grandfather's name, they're all Antonio.
Okay.
My father, though, on his license is Anthony.
It's Anthony.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I grew up. My name is Luis Antonio Tayawa.
Yeah.
So, but all growing up, because my grandfather was Tony, is Antonio. So everybody called me Tony. So in grade school, when I went to kindergarten, they called off all the names, and then they're like, "Whose name didn't I call?" And they're like, "Oh, you didn't call my name." And she's like, "Well, the only one that didn't answer was Luis Tayawa." I'm like, "No, that's not my name. My name's Tony Tayawa." And she's like, "Oh no, well, I don't know." And then she's like, "All right, whatever." So at the end of class, my mom comes and I told my mom, like, hey, I'm like, they didn't call my name. And she goes, what do you mean? I'm like, they didn't call my name. And she goes to the teacher and she's like, oh, it's because your name's Luis. I'm like, what do you mean my name is Luis? Dude, I had no idea my name was
Wow.
Luis.
What grade was this?
This is in kindergarten.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was like, so she's like, yeah. She goes, no, your name is Luis Antonio, but we call you Tony, but your real name is Luis. And I was like, what the fuck? Like,
Wow.
Yeah,
Mind
dude.
blown.
yeah.
Man.
So like, but yeah, all through like people that have known me through since I was a kid, they all call me Tony. But you know how, because licensing and stuff like
Yeah,
that, you have
yeah,
to
yeah.
put your first name, and everybody
Yeah.
calls you through your first name for business and stuff. So that's why everybody calls me Louis.
What's your name of preference?
Honestly, bro, I kind of got used to Louis now. I got used to Owl now.
Owl.
Yeah. So honestly, it doesn't. I like all of them. You know what I mean? Like Tony's cool. Luis is cool. I think when there's a bunch of Luises in the room, it's cool. It's cool to be.
Yeah.
Everybody knows you as Tony. And that was the other thing. When we're in grade school, there was like 4 of us Louises.
Oh, wow.
There's 4 of us, so everybody would call me Tony to
The
you know,
offset, yeah.
yeah, to offset all the Lewises that there was. But there was a bunch of Lewises. So like one of the Lewises, we would call him Louis. And the other 2 were just Lewis and Lewis.
Nice.
Yeah, and I was Tony.
I was Tony E, because there was another Tony.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, so Tony E, it was kind of cool. Cause
sounds like R&B.
Because Easy E was out.
Yeah,
And then I got the Tony E. So I took it.
that was your gangster name.
Yeah, I took my gangster name's Tony E.
Nice. That's what I'm gonna call it.
repping the 312, the 708.
So where did you grow up, bro? Where were you born?
Chicago.
Chicago. You know what? We always drink, but since we did this night session in the morning,
Yeah.
to get some stuff done.
So get some orange juice.
Yeah. So usually we pop bottles, but we're gonna pop orange juice right now.
Here, I'm gonna pour. Go.
Thank you, sir.
It's for you.
Simply Orange. Send us some cases.
Right, this podcast.
Are you a pulp or a no pulp guy?
Ooh, pulp.
Are you, man? And you know what? I knew it. I was like, man, like, should I get
Yeah,
pulp?
but you know it's okay.
Yeah.
it's okay because, you know, it's you go to the grocery store and you really want orange juice, and if it's one of those days where people were savage and they bought 2 or 3, the only thing that's left is pulp.
Yeah.
You celebrate.
Right. Yeah. So I was like, should I get pulp or no pulp? Like that was the question in the morning. I was like, he seems like a pulp guy.
Yeah.
I'm like,
my
I'm
ancestors
pretty sure
had pulp.
I'm like, but I want to ruin his day by getting pulp, and he's not a pulp
Yeah,
guy.
I can see it now. I would have drank it and been like, what is this?
This is fucking pulp.
This is
Yeah,
bullshit.
salute,
Hey, appreciate you, man.
bro. Thank you. Oh, man, some good orange juice.
That is some good orange juice.
That's orange juice.
Yeah.
This or the freshly squeezed, like from Mariano's and all that other stuff. What do you think? What do you like better?
Oh, I like this.
Yeah?
Yeah. Freshly squeezed, like you said, Mariano's. I've had it at like Mexican restaurants and stuff. Mm-hmm. It's good. It's good, but it's got to be cold.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem. The temperature. If they had their temperature game strong, then
When we were traveling, did you by any chance try the orange juice? Because over there they have Valencia orange juice.
I did try it. It
What
was
did you think?
it was a little sweet. I thought.
It was different, right?
Yeah, it was almost like they stuck a carrot in there.
Oh, yeah. They might have.
It might have.
Yeah. Have you ever had orange juice with carrot juice?
Yeah, of
It's
course.
good, right?
Oh yeah, it's good.
Yeah. So back to so where were you born, bro? Did you tell us already?
Chicago. Rush Presbyterian Hospital off the 290.
Okay.
The one with the green emblem
Okay.
on the front. I lived in Chicago. I lived in Little Village for like a year.
Okay.
My first year of life, Little
All right.
Village.
You
And then my
started
parents.
banging and your parents said you had to leave or what?
Oh yeah, they kicked me out. I was whisked away to Cicero.
Okay.
I lived on 23rd and Lombard, right on the border of Cicero and Berwyn.
Okay.
So I was on the Cicero side.
Okay.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Cubs and Sox.
It's like, is it like, would you guys look across the street and like tell people like I'm from Cicero?
Oh
Rep
yeah,
Cicero?
it was a big joke
Was
between
it?
the guys across the street and us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they go to a different school than you guys did? Like even if it was across the street from each other?
Yeah, I went to a Catholic school 2 blocks west or east of my street called Our Lady of the Mount. And had I lived across the street, I would have had to have gone to St. Odilo,
Oh, okay.
another Catholic school.
Oh, all right.
So my parents put me through Catholic school.
Yeah. And Was that a choice, or was that just something that your parents wanted to do? Send your Catholic school.
You know, they grew up in Chicago. I think I know they went to Farragut.
Okay.
They never had the opportunity to go to like I guess a paid school. It was
Right,
always
right.
public school.
Yeah.
So their idea of getting me a higher education was to send me to Catholic school,
Right.
which my dad put me through that school by not only working his regular job, 11 hours a day, but he would afterwards go and sweep and mop that school
Oh,
in
wow.
exchange for tuition.
Oh wow.
So I want to say like from kindergarten through 5th grade, it was him.
Yeah.
And then 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, or 6th and 8th grade, he started to take me with him.
Oh yeah.
So I would be sweeping the school and mopping the school at night.
No way. How
Yeah.
old were you?
I was however old, like maybe 13, 12, 13,
No way.
14. Yeah. So all the kids knew because that area where the school was, there was a big playground, and you would ride your bike over there as a young kid.
Right.
And they would peek in the windows at night, and they'd see me and my dad sweeping and mopping.
Yeah.
So on top of having to deal with the issues I already had in that school,
Right.
it was also Tony's a janitor.
What kind of issues did you have in that school?
I was the darkest one in the school,
Right.
and in the class there were Mexicans in the class that there was a hierarchy of color, a little bit of colorism going on.
Yeah.
So they would call me the N-word.
Really?
They would call me the N-word from like 2nd grade on to like finally 8th grade. Like I even left 2 years out of that school
Yeah.
to public schools just for financial reasons for my family, I guess.
Right.
And I went back, and even going back, I remember in 8th grade I was dealing with it, and the person who was instigating all that
Yeah.
ended up getting kicked out of the school in 8th grade.
Oh wow.
And I graduated with honors from that school.
Right.
And it's so weird, man. It's like that experience and that person that I've had that issue with, I know them still.
Yeah.
Not like like how I know you and I talk to you.
Right.
But if I ever found out that they were sick or they were dying,
Right.
I'd be devastated.
Yeah.
Because I care about that person still.
Right.
A part of me through that whole process wanted to be their friend so bad
Yeah.
that I put up with it, because I'm like, man, I know why you're doing it. And that's the thing, and that's something I appreciate my parents for.
Right.
I knew the reason why I was getting a lot of the flack was because they wanted to be the cool person.
Right.
And I was like, I get it.
Yeah.
And I understand what you're doing is hurting me. I get it.
Yeah.
But I'm smart enough not to be, that mad about it. I was just disappointed because life could have been different for me in grade school, but it wasn't,
Yeah, I think. Yeah, because I look back at grade school. I used to get bullied, but I wouldn't get. I had a couple people that would look out for me. I think that was the good thing. You know?
Oh, me too. I had one guy. I had a guy, Aaron. His name was Aaron. I'll say his name, Aaron.
I remember the one that stands out. I remember one time there was this one guy, and he moved away, and he came back, just like bigger. You know how like
He came back raw.
yeah, he just
did
came
time.
back a bigger kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We were all still small, and I remember he was bullying everybody. And there was one guy that like he there's this one guy that we all know, and like you just don't want to mess. Like he's a really awesome guy, but he's a really good fighter. Like since we were little kids, like
Yeah.
we knew that guy, like if you were gonna fight him, you were gonna get your ass whooped. Like,
Damn.
he was just good like that
Savage.
with his hands. And yeah, like he was the one that ended up beating up that bully. He was like, dude, he will stop fucking with everybody.
Yeah.
He fucking whooped his ass.
Sometimes
and that was it. Like,
That's what it takes, man. I fought my bully.
yeah.
I fought my bully. I remember he came up to me with his brother, and they were talking, and he said something like, "Yeah, man, you're too scared to fight me." And I was like, "No, I'm not. I'll fight you right now."
Yeah.
And he looked at me like, "What?" Like dumbfounded. And I
Right.
remember it was 6th grade,
Right.
and I fought him on the playground. It was just literally me, him, and his brother, and there was snow everywhere.
Yeah.
So he was punching me, and I'm punching him, and his big brother, who's like a year older than we were,
Right.
picked up a block of ice and threw it at me and hit me in my face.
No way.
Yeah, and I remember I had a big welt right away, and we stopped fighting. And he was acting like his brother had won the fight, and I was looking at him like, bro, why did you just? What are you doing? Why would you throw a big? I've never had that happen.
Right.
Picked up a block of ice, threw it at my face, and maybe I don't know. I'm not going to say that I was losing or winning.
Right.
But we were fighting.
It took two of them against you. So
We were going in. I mean, maybe he was helping his brother.
yeah. So I figure you. I think you won that one. It was
Yeah.
two guys and it's one guy.
And then I got hit with ice.
Yeah, you got robbed on that
I
one.
was mad. I remember being really mad. I was mad at the brother more than I was mad at the guy I was fighting.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I got in a couple of fights when I was a kid, or just in general in life, and yeah, like you're not gonna win them all, but I think after you do it, like they know not to mess with you. You're not gonna go down like a punk. You know?
Yeah, and I think that's what it took. The principal of that school,
Uh-huh.
her name was Mrs. K.
Uh-huh.
Okay, there was a year I think in 5th grade where because this went on forever.
Yeah.
She pulls me in the office and she says, "Listen, Tony, there's gonna come a time where you're gonna have to sock this guy in the face."
Oh wow. So
Yeah.
she's giving you permission.
My principal told me to literally to punch this dude.
Just fucking knock him out already.
Yeah, man, and I was like, what? And now and even now, like I'm scared to break the rules.
Uh-huh.
So like I did not understand the direction.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, you mean to knock him out with my words? Like what do you mean exactly?
Yeah.
And she literally picked up her fist. She's like, Tony, sometimes you just have to punch somebody in the face. And I'm like, oh, okay, Mrs. K.
Yeah.
She's like, to me, she was like 9 feet tall.
Yeah.
Giant person. And she is tall. We're Facebook friends.
Oh really?
Yeah, we're Facebook friends.
Nice.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
So after all this stuff, so you went to grade school there, so you went to junior high at the same Catholic school?
No, I went to Morton East.
Oh, okay. And then during this, did you ever have a job or first? So your first technical job was at the school with your dad, cleaning?
Well, if you want to call it a job, it was more of a chore for
Right.
me. Because I got it. My dad worked 8 hours a day making TV tubes for Zenith.
Yeah.
He'd come honk the horn. I'd run outside, and by that time my sister was going to the school.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're sweeping the hallways, the bathrooms, cleaning the closets, the coat rooms,
Yeah.
mopping and sweeping the school. And my dad couldn't just do it on his own anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? So my mom wasn't going to go do it. She had my siblings at home to take care of.
Right.
It was 4 of us. So yeah, I went and that's what I was doing.
They do you think now today like that helps you a lot? Just that work ethic of going and doing all
Absolutely.
that?
I find myself a lot when I'm feeling lethargic or lazy.
Mm-hmm.
I tell myself, would my father be lazy? Would my father be chilling as much as I am right now?
Yeah.
Or how hard would my dad be working at this? And that's been a big thing for me. I say that to myself a lot.
Yeah.
Like your father wouldn't be sitting here moping around, or your father wouldn't be giving up. My father used to go to this place called Cook Brothers.
Yeah.
And he'd buy a bunch of knives, like little pocket knives.
Yeah.
He'd buy cans of soda, chips, and he'd go to his work. And during his lunch hour, he'd open his trunk and he'd sell all these items for profit.
No way.
And there was a time or two where he would take me to go do that.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, okay, Tony, you're gonna sell these sodas, and I would be selling sodas, out in a parking lot like at Jewel or something.
Yeah.
And then like whenever there was an opportunity to sell chocolates for the school, my dad was like, give us 10 boxes. And I was like, no. So I'd go door to door selling chocolates when I was a kid. And it's funny because nowadays you see people, they take their kids to Walgreens and they stand outside of Walgreens.
Yeah.
Man, I wasn't doing that. I was knocking on the doors,
Of people.
which helped me. Yeah, which helps me with real estate because I'm not scared of knocking on a door.
Yeah.
If I can sell these chocolates, I'll sell you this house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I get my work ethic from my father.
Do you think because your dad sounds like a straight entrepreneur, dude? Like,
Yeah.
what did his dad do?
My grandfather, who passed away a couple years ago, we didn't have a huge relationship because I wasn't allowed to go to that part of town. I wasn't allowed to go to Little Village.
Oh.
Because supposedly, and my parents are watching this, they're going to kill me, but supposedly my dad, people were looking for my dad.
Oh.
And it's like, you have your dad's same name, you look like your father. If you go
Yeah.
down there, they're going to mess with you, so don't go down there.
Yeah.
So I never got a chance to really go and visit those grandparents the way I did on my mom's side.
Oh wow.
So when you ask what he used to do, I know him as being on disability for something that had happened to him at his job. I don't know what he used to do. I can't tell you.
Right.
Because I never had never had the opportunity to have those conversations with him.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? All I know is that is my grandfather Antonio from the other side.
Right.
I see him maybe I see him every 4 Christmases. Hey,
Yeah,
how
yeah,
are
yeah.
you? Okay, bye.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I wish that was different. I wish that was different, but you know, it's that train has left the station.
Yeah. Yeah, because your dad sounds like a really interesting guy, bro.
Oh yeah, man. He's something.
Yeah. My dad was always a hard worker. And like sometimes I'm like, man, like he worked hard. And he still to this day he'll still work hard, you know what I mean? That's just like the work ethic they have. You know what I mean? But yeah, like for selling candies and stuff, because my dad was always like a sports guy, like a hustler.
Oh yeah.
I want to say he was a hustler, bro. Like him and all his friends, they're all hustlers.
Oh man, okay.
Like they'll go play the pool. They'll be at the pool hall. They'll be at the bowling alley. You know, just like gambling.
That's
I don't know
cool.
if I should say.
Yeah, now I'm gonna go on record. I'm very proud of the dad I had.
Yeah.
Or the dad I have. Man's still around.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Very proud. Very, very proud. I mean, we have our differences.
Yeah.
But I'm super. I mean, whenever I'm doubting myself and I need a push, I
Yeah.
compare myself to him and how how great I mean, to me he's the greatest man in the world, and I'm like, man,
Right.
your dad would mop the floor with you right now. So
Yeah.
get up and go do something because
Yeah.
he will outwork you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I want the goal, the gift that I can give him is to be better. And I've told him this. I'm like, my goal is to be better than you. Like, I'm not trying to be a jerk.
Yeah.
I go, but I want my son to be better than me.
Yeah.
So you've set the bar,
Right. Without getting too political with like the kids today, do you think there's a big difference now, like with generations, like that
yeah.
don't appreciate that anymore or don't see that?
We're
Like the young guys today.
Is this your podcast is PG or is it rated R? What is it?
I always downloaded it not for kids, so
Not for kids.
yeah, not for kids on the
We're
YouTube.
we're in a society full of pussies.
Yeah.
If you want my real opinion,
Yeah.
I don't care for the politically correct.
Right.
I feel bad when I see comedians that told a joke in 1980.
And they come
lose
back
their
for it.
career
Yeah.
now because something comes up.
Yeah.
I can't stand it. The whole thing about participation trophies. That conversation.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
can't stand that.
I'd tell my kid, give it back. Don't take it. You didn't win it.
Yeah.
Like Ricky Bobby
Yeah.
said, if you're not first, you're last.
And I'm happy because my son is number 1 in his school for like the highest math something. Yeah, it's written down somewhere. But
Right.
he's doing really good. And there was somebody who was coming close to him, and my son's 8. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. He's young.
He was so pissed
Really?
that somebody was getting close, where there was a week where like he was second place and his world was destroyed.
Really?
And I was so happy, man.
Yeah.
Like I kept telling him, "Hey, what's up, second place, Tony?" And he looked at me like, "I hate you, I hate your guts." And I'm like, I told him, I go, "I'm really happy that you want to be number 1." And I go, because being number 2, I'm not going to tell you that it's okay,
Right.
but your drive to be number 1 is what's going to make sure that you're successful.
Yeah.
And he's so worried about impressing me, which I never put that on him. I don't know where that comes from.
Yeah.
Maybe he sees the way I am with my dad. I don't know. But
Maybe.
he's so worried about me being impressed with him that everything that he does, even the way he talks, he's like, "Hey, Dad, today I was at the gym and I ran faster than everybody." And then I'm looking at him like, I looked at this other kid with these longer legs that's taller, has a bunch of muscles everywhere. I'm like, "Oh, you sure?" He's like, "Yeah, Dad, you should have seen me. I was like the wind." I'm like, "All right." All right, man. And I've had to check him. Hey, you don't have to lie. I go,
Yeah.
I want you to mess up. I want them to fail.
Yeah.
I think Gary Vee is really good at that. Go out and fail.
Yeah.
I want him and my daughter to fail.
Yeah, no,
Miserably.
definitely. Because that's how you learn, bro. Like I've told everybody, if I would have opened up the insurance agency, and I had a line down the block, I would have been out of business in a year because you don't appreciate anything. You don't see anything. You're just like, it's easy. You know what I mean? And that's it. And I think that's why like you have a lot of people that are super talented. They don't do well on stuff.
Yeah.
They don't work hard. I think that's how they say hard work wins over talent. Because I mean, if sometimes if it comes too easy, or if you don't know how to appreciate stuff, you're not gonna you're not gonna excel because you think it's just gonna come.
I'm with you 110% on that.
Yeah. So after that, bro. So after grade school, you went to high school.
Yeah.
And then how was high school for you?
High
Was it
school-
different after? I mean, like, because now you had more more Mexicans, more tan people, brown people with you.
Yeah,
or-
man. High school was eye opening.
Yeah.
All my experiences in grade school were worthless.
Yeah.
Worthless. In high school, I ended up getting on the video club, taking video class. I got it on accident. I was supposed to get a guitar class, and I ended up getting a video class.
Okay.
And then the teacher recruited me in a commercial, and just the stars aligned, and all of a sudden, I'm making commercials. I'm making videos.
Yeah.
I didn't talk to a lot of people in high school.
Right.
I was more about video for some reason. It spoke to me. It was an opportunity for me to communicate without having to worry about somebody not agreeing with my opinion or liking what I was saying.
Yeah, that was your outlet.
I didn't want to have to fit in because I spent the last decade trying to fit in.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is who I am on video,
Right.
and this is so I regret the way I handled that because I know people now that were like, oh, hey Tony, I remember you in high school, you were so cool, and I wish we would have hung out more, and it makes me feel bad because it's like, man, I wish too, but I was dealing with something that you guys didn't know,
Yeah.
but that's why I do video production and photography because it was I registered late my sophomore year, didn't get the guitar class that I wanted,
Yeah.
and got thrown in video.
So they had guitar class.
Yeah, they had guitar
Did they?
101.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever learn afterwards?
You know what? For some reason, I'm a little musically inclined. Like if I had to learn it, I could pick it up.
Yeah.
I do digital music,
Uh-huh.
so that's easier because it's more mathematic and you can see it physically.
yeah.
But if I had to learn the guitar, I think I could.
Yeah.
I think everybody says that I can do that really easy. No, but I really think I could.
I've always wanted to take music lessons, guitar or piano, just because I just want to walk in somewhere and just be like,
Right?
guitar or something, or just sit at the piano and just start
Yeah.
fucking.
They say a lot of the popular songs in culture right now. There's the three chords that the majority of these songs are made up with.
Yeah.
There's a video on YouTube actually called the four chord song or the three chord song, and we'll watch it later on.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they literally play like 30 songs in a row with the same chords that just played in different sequences.
Really?
Blows your mind.
No way.
Yeah, it blows your mind, man. If you can learn those chords, you can play just about any song you hear on the radio.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Dude, I have a cousin, and he speaking of talent, and dude, he never had any lessons.
Yeah.
Never got taught by anybody. He could literally sit at a piano. So I don't know about you, but there was a time in the 80s and the 90s where all the Mexican families we knew had a piano in their house for some reason.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I remember that. We had it. We had a piano.
You had a piano
Yeah,
too?
piano in the basement.
Yeah, I have no idea why everybody wanted a piano in those days. Something must have happened
I think
culturally.
I think it was a mark that you made it.
Yeah, right? I
Yeah.
think that was like a status symbol.
Yeah,
Like you have an
absolutely. It was
electric
either
piano.
that or you had a big screen TV
Yeah. Uh-huh.
that weighed 700 pounds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because for sure. Yeah, and so everybody had a piano. So every time we would go to different family members' houses. We would sit down and we'd be like, bro, play the piano. And we would play literally, dude, play a song, and he would sit at the piano and play the song.
Oh man,
That's how like gifted he was.
I have a song that I tried
Or
learning.
is. Huh?
Cristian Castro, he has a song called Después de Ti.
Okay.
I love that piano piece in there where I almost learned it,
Really?
but I didn't speak Spanish
Uh-huh.
early in my younger years. So I had no idea what this dude was saying. All I know is that Después de Ti was like after you,
Yeah. So speaking of that, was Spanish your first language? Did your parents speak Spanish?
Oh
at
no,
home?
no. I've been reading English and writing English since I was 3.
Uh-huh.
I learned Spanish through my wife is the reason why I speak Spanish.
Yeah.
When I was 17, I started dating her, and she was talking to me in Spanish, and I was like, "Sí," every "sí."
Yeah.
And then one day she's like, "You don't speak Spanish, do you?" I'm like, "No." So I had heard enough of conversations between my mom and my grandma
Yeah.
to where I can understand what people were saying.
Right.
It came time to get a job. I applied at American General Finance, and a bunch of places before that, and everyone was rejecting me because I didn't speak Spanish. Reject.
Right.
It was around the time where speaking Spanish was a thing now.
Yeah.
Because it used to not be a thing.
Yeah.
That was the thing. So the manager's like, his name was Bill Caderna. He was a white guy. He's like, do you speak Spanish? And I was like, yeah, of course I speak Spanish. Look at me, buddy. Look at me. And then they hired me. And my job was to call people and tell them that their bill payments were late and to try to get them to refinance their loans, to give them more money or sell them insurance. And then I remember I'm like calling somebody, and I had forgotten that there was other Mexicans or Latinos working at the, in the office.
Yeah.
And I'd be on the phone and I'd be like, su pago está atrasado. Que vengas a pagar, gracias. And then all of a sudden I got pulled in the office and the manager's like, hey, so I'm hearing a rumor that you don't speak Spanish. And I'm like, I speak Spanish. And now, we had a good relationship by then. It was like a weekend.
Yeah.
I'm like, listen, man, I speak Spanish, but you never asked me to what degree. I got a D in Spanish, baby. But I speak Spanish.
Yeah.
So that's how I learned Spanish, because I would go to Vernice. And friends and say, hey, listen, I need to know every word that you know that pertains to finance.
Yeah.
So préstamo, pagos, and all that started to come into play.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I'd be on the phone. I say, sí, bueno, señor, ¿cómo estás? ¿Estás atrasado su pago? Tienes 30 minutos para venir con el pago en cheque, en efectivo, So all of a sudden, like, you could see it was like Rocky, where the boss is in the background, like,
yeah.
like all proud. So yeah, that's how I learned Spanish. I learned it in segments.
So did you understand it, or you just didn't know how to speak it? Or
I just didn't know how to speak it.
Yeah.
Because I understood it.
Yeah.
Like you can talk to me and I'll just be like, great, I'd love to tell you something back. But
my youngest sister Erica, I don't think she listens to my podcast, so I'll tell her story.
Oh man, okay. Tell me, hey Erica, if you're listening.
So she she didn't speak Spanish at all. Like, she understood it really well.
Yeah.
But she didn't speak it at all. Like, all through she graduated high school. And I remember one time, her friends took her to eat to Nuevo Leon in Pilsen when it was still there. And she comes back. She's like, "Oh yeah, we went to this great Mexican restaurant." And it was me. I remember it was me and my dad in the backyard. It was summertime.
Yeah.
And we're like, "Oh yeah, what was it called?" She's like, "It's New Lion." And we're like, New Lion. She goes, yeah, it's really good. I'm like, where is it? She's like, it's by downtown. And we're like, by downtown? She goes, yeah, it's called New Lion. And we're like, Nuevo Leon?
On 18th.
Yeah. And then in Filson, on 18th, Nuevo Leon. She's like, oh, yeah. I'm like, dude, aren't you embarrassed? I'm like, your white friends took you to go. No disrespect to white people on that Mexican food, but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
We're like, dude, like, you can't. I'm like, how did they take you there? And how did they know the name and you can't pronounce it yourself? And then fast forward years later, I took her to Mexico at a wedding, and my dad's like, take your sister to Mexico with you and just leave her there. I was like, dude, like, she doesn't. What? He's like, she's not gonna know. She's not gonna know.
Leave her there.
He's like, I'm like, dude, she can't talk. How's she gonna keep? He's like, don't worry about it. She's not gonna want to leave. Just take her with you. You'll see. So I took her with me, and we went for 3 weeks. The first week, I was her translator for the whole first week. Then the second week, I had to go to a wedding. So I told him, like, hey, I'm leaving. I'm like, are you cool? You're going to be cool by yourself? She's like, yeah. And I was with my aunts and everybody else. She was staying with my aunts and everybody. So we have a huge family. My dad has all his family's over there in Mexico. So I leave her. I'm like, all right, man. I'm like, well, good luck. So I leave for a week to Guadalajara. I come back to Aguascalientes. Dude, totally different person, speaking Spanish.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. And fast forward to years later, she lives there, dude. She lives in Mexico.
Wow.
She's married. She has a kid. She spoke no Spanish.
She's the mom. She's like, no English in my house.
Yeah. Now I talk to her in English, and she just looks like, yeah.
My mom would torture me with Spanish. The craziest thing, and this will say a lot. My mom would be like, go to the store. We had it on the corner, like half a block away. We had a store called Chapala on 59th and Cermak. She goes, go to Chapala, and I want you to get 2 libras de bola. And I was like, not able to say that. And all I heard was, go ask a man for 2 balls. 2 libras de bola. So like, I'm like, say it again, mom, say it again. Because I'm not going to go up to this carnicero and ask him for 2 balls.
Yeah.
And I remember walking in there all like shaking. freaking out, and the guys are the way they are.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, ¿qué quieres? Dos libras de bola. ¿Qué? Yeah. Give me the meats. Remember, give me the meats. I need 2 pounds of the meats. And I think I went home with like aguayon. My mom had a fit.
Yeah.
What is this? This is aguayon. I said, dos libras de bola. I'm like, and then, she finally understood. I'm like, Mom, I'm not going to ask nobody for no bola. I go, you know what bola means, Mom? And she's like, oh my God. My poor son. I've been sending you all these years to go ask men for bolas. Yeah. I'm like, it's not cool, Mom. That's why we've been having this aguayon for the last 2 years.
Aguayon.
Yeah, man.
No way. So tell us about, bro, the time that you got that you became a made man by Betty Lauren Maltese. That's my favorite story.
So I won.
She opened the books and she said, Tony, you're under me now.
Like, all you gotta do is kiss the ring.
Kiss the ring, Tony.
I was 13.
No one can touch you now, kid.
I was 13, and I had won a spelling bee. And she was in the audience, and she got up and she gave me the key to the city. The newspaper.
Really?
Yeah. The newspaper snapped a photo.
Do you still have the key?
Yeah, I do actually.
No way.
I do have it. It's bronze. And she's like, I want you to come to my office on Monday. And I'm like, oh, for what? She goes, just come to my office on Monday. Bring your dad. We're going to have the newspaper there again. So I show up. The whole family knows I'm going to go see the town president, and Betty Lauren Maltese go in her office, and she has clowns everywhere.
Yeah.
Pictures of clowns, statues of clowns.
Yeah.
Cards with clowns on them. She was a clown collector.
Wow.
So I'm sitting there, and she's like, hey, I was really impressed with you the other day. I want to offer you a job. And she ended up giving me a job as a garbage man for the Clyde Park District when I was 13.
That's crazy.
So I would get on the garbage trucks and go around the parks, like the Clyde Park, and that's all the parks, literally.
Yeah.
And pick up the garbage and collect it. After doing that for a year, they stuck me in Cicero Stadium, and I was sweeping and mopping.
And this was like all year round, or just summer? Or
Summer.
Just summer.
Yeah, summer. I did it for 2.5 summers, I think.
Yeah. And then they took you to the stadium, you said?
Yeah, Cicero Stadium. Yeah, I would have to clean that, mop that.
How was that working with them? Like was it all young kids, or were you the youngest one there?
Oh, everyone was over 50 that worked there. I remember. They're great hair, hardened. They were all white guys, hardened white guys.
Yeah.
Here came, Lou Diamond Phillips.
Yeah.
Coming in with his coat. I used to wear a wife beater and Dickies.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I'm here to work. And they're like, all right, Muscles, come pick up this can. And they laugh at me because, these cans, they weren't the plastic cans. They were the heavy metal cans.
Yeah, the big metal ones.
So over the summer, that first summer, like I was buff. Like it was crazy.
Yeah.
14-year-old, I was walking around like him. My mustache had gotten bigger and all that. It was crazy.
They and did you learn any lessons from those guys? Like would they bully you, or would they mess with you? Or
I learned what hard work was.
Yeah.
More than anything, because these were guys who they were garbage men like their whole lives.
Yeah.
I also had a little bit of an inkling of what it meant to work for the town, and I can see the system in there.
Right.
And how they were kind of connected.
Yeah.
And I want to say that I knew that they were all made.
Yeah.
But it's like, wait a minute. Why do you all talk about the same stuff, the same accent? Yeah. I heard offing people, this guy, we got to take care of this and take care of that. And I was sitting there like, yeah, we got to take care of that garbage, and conversations that they didn't want me to hear. And the supervisor's name was Lefty.
Oh, nice.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, hey, Lefty was looking for you. He's in the office. Go check him out.
Yeah.
All right, let me go see what Lefty wants.
No way.
Yeah. So it was interesting.
Yeah.
I was on the payroll getting checks.
Yeah. That's cool, man. Because back then, like, Laura Maltese was, she was a big deal. She was. She was. Whatever she said went. And
I knew her as the town president.
Yeah.
My dad probably had a little bit more of an idea, but I knew her as the lady that gave me a job.
Yeah. That's awesome. So after that, you were still in high school while you were working for the town, everything else. Then you graduated high school, and then you went to You go to college? Did you go work? Or?
I went to a couple of colleges. I went to NIU.
Okay.
I pledged Sigma Lambda Beta, the fraternity. I left because it wasn't working out. I wanted to go to Columbia College. My mom had put in my head that I wouldn't be able to hold down a family making movies. So I took that to heart, and I went and tried to become somebody I wasn't, a communications major,
Right.
a networking engineer. I went to the Academy of Design and Technology and was trying to find my way there, and lost my mind one day when the teacher walked in and said, "In this class, we're going to find out what the color red means to you." And I'm like, "Wait, is that like this week?" And he's like, "No, this semester." I'm like, "This semester, that's what we're talking about." And he's like, "Yeah."
Because these were.
I got up and walked out.
So everybody doesn't know. It's like these were all for-profit colleges, right? They're
Yeah.
not universities. They're not accredited.
Yeah, these are like now. There's like if you Google these colleges, they've all had issues with being sued
Yeah.
for promising jobs that no one's ever gotten.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. We had spoken lightly about this the other day, but yeah, dude. Like I did the same thing. I went to one of those. I went to Westwood College, and yeah, it was a big ripoff. Like at the end of the day, it wasn't accredited. By the time I figured everything out, it was already too late. I had to clear a lot of student loans.
Yeah, I took a lot of my prerequisites and my classes to Morton.
Yeah.
And they took, thank God, they took the majority of them.
Did they?
Yeah.
See, when at that time I was working for State Farm in Cicero for Loretto Arzola, and I remember everybody was saying like, the university is accredited, this and that. I'm like, man, like I'm screwed. So I go back, and the thing was, I wanted to become a cop. So the police departments weren't taking that diploma or that whatever that school was giving. So I went to Morton, and I talked to them, and I was like, hey, like, I want to transfer here. I want to move my credits, all this stuff. She's like, you're gonna have to start all over again. And it was like I was already 2 years in, 2-3 years in. I was devastated. So I ended up going to DeVry, because DeVry was the only one that would take my credits, or take most of them. And then went me for like a semester at DeVry, and then the student loans were just outrageous already, and they wanted me to get a cosigner. So I ended up just I was like, no, like I just gotta stop going, and that was it. I just never finished.
It's my story. It's crazy that happened. Still paying for it now,
Oh yeah, that's my biggest problem. Like for my credit and everything, it's because of student loans.
Yeah.
And other than that, I had no debt. It's student loans.
Same thing with me. I don't have debt. I have student loans.
Yeah.
And it sucks because it how it works.
Yeah.
It ruins lives. And if anything, I think it's a shame on the government for allowing student loans to be a thing. You know what I mean? Because I get it that you borrow money and all that, but it's not like I borrowed money to buy sneakers.
Yeah.
I bought an education that you guys backed and you allowed to happen.
And that's the thing. Like they guarantee that like it's like if you buy a house, the bank isn't gonna let you borrow the money if the house isn't worth what the money you're asking for. I think that's the same thing with education. If they shouldn't have let those schools get that money if they knew that it was gonna be garbage.
Yeah.
No one's gonna be able to do it.
I know I have a responsibility in doing something with the education that because I learned a couple things. It wasn't just all for waste.
Right.
So I don't have a problem with what I learned. What I have a problem with is that they counted against you that you even tried to learn and pay for it.
Right.
If you're going to call America free, the land of the free and all that, fine, I'll pay for the college, but how are you going to take that and penalize me on my credit to where now that I'm older and I want to make certain moves, I can't because I went for the American dream and tried to go to school. That bothers me.
My thing with that, with those schools and all that, was that those papers are worthless. The people don't recognize them. I mean, like a lot of places like you would want to get a job in. So, I don't know. I could go on for hours.
I have family members with really good degrees from really good schools.
Yeah.
That they're not working in their field of study. So even if they went to Yale, they're not finding a job for it. I mean, who's that on?
Right.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah. I have I'll give you the name. I have it right. I don't have it with me right now, but it's a documentary, and I come out in it. They interviewed me, and it's all like students like that.
Yeah.
It's by Alex Shabano. It's called Failed State, and that's what it's about. And it's just all about how the whole system, but it has to do with with for-profit colleges, but about how they just mess everybody up and how they target like minority communities or
Yeah.
just poor communities, hardworking blue collar communities in general.
Mm,
You know what I mean? And that's what they target.
I gotcha.
So after that, where did you go after college? You
After college, I went on a working spree,
okay.
and I worked for all the big major corporations. I mean, I've worked for T-Mobile, VoiceStream, AT&T. I had a Farmers Insurance at one point. MCI, WorldCom, a lot of telecom companies.
Yeah.
A lot of it having to do with management and sales.
Okay.
My biggest stretch of career was AT&T.
Okay.
Great company.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have nothing negative to say about it other than, your people don't quit jobs; they quit their managers.
I believe that.
I had a bad manager. He wasn't a bad manager, but he didn't have a backbone, and I got fired
Yeah.
at AT&T. I got fired.
Really.
Yeah.
I had I worked at the McDonald's corporate office, but we were always outsourced. We worked for like Xerox. I mean, all these companies would end up buying out that contract, and they would just keep us on the same position. But
Yeah.
but our manager at the end of the day, like,
Yeah. And the sad thing about that is that guy probably had the same stresses that I had.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And I think that's just the way it's the system's set up, and you got to really be in there in order to stick around, and I know people that still work at that company that when I was there they were like the worst employees in the world.
yeah,
It's just they were really savvy in how to keep their job,
right,
by lying and doing the bare minimum,
yeah,
and it's crazy. It's the craziest. It's
yeah.
is what it is. I was an overachiever and I got dinged for it. So
Yeah, I think that's what it is too. Yeah, and I understand that at the same time. I mean, like, he was looking out for himself at the end of the day. I mean, you have to look out for yourself and your family. So it is what it is. So after all those jobs, at the same time, were you still doing all the video stuff that you do and all that other stuff?
I started video in high school and I never let it go through college. I always tried to find a way to do it. I had a radio show.
Really?
Yeah, I had a radio show, WKDI at Northern.
Okay.
And then I wanted to do that, as I get a lot like, oh, Tony, you have the radio voice, and
You have a good voice.
I'm like, and I love that, and I appreciate it, and I think the personality wise I could do it.
Yeah.
But the opportunity, I don't think I ever took it. I don't want to say that I never got it.
Right.
I never really pursued it. So now that I have the podcast,
Yeah.
I'm having some fun with it. I mean, it's about real estate, and don't get me wrong, that's my livelihood right now.
Right.
But I do want to create a podcast that I could try to have take off and popularize and
Yeah.
and all that. But video is right along with with being creative. So doing video, photography,
Right.
music, some music, digital music, and then of course podcasting. It's all in the same realm. It's become one big project for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. So where does your love for movies come from? I always want to ask you that.
My love for movies, came from my love for movie scores.
Okay.
So I remember watching Jaws and hearing the ba-dum, and I was like, oh, what's going on? Ba-dum. Oh, this is awesome. Who made that music? And then you watch the credits and it's John Williams.
Right.
Star Wars, John Williams.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones, all of them. John Williams.
Yeah.
Back to the Future, you got some John Williams in there, and all of a sudden, the emotion in the music versus the movie really made me fall in love with the way stories were told.
Right.
So that is kind of where my love for movies came from, not just the movie, but the actual soundtracks. I love music.
Yeah.
And I walk around with headphones even in the office.
Yeah.
I'm always, if I'm not listening to music, I have soundtracks like to movie scores and stuff like that. So,
what's your favorite movie score? Like the one that you just go to. You're like, man, I gotta listen to
man, like it's funny. I like when I'm relaxing. Every once in a while, I'll throw on like the movie score to Jurassic Park.
it. Really?
Yeah, just once in a while. I like the Inception
Was good.
Time soundtrack.
Yeah.
That's another good one. And then a lot of it also, there's a lot of really good movie score playlists on Spotify
Yeah.
to like video games that are really epic.
Uh-huh.
So I love epic music.
Yeah.
So like if I need to write a video,
Right.
I'll go and listen for the movies first or the music first, and then I'll listen to the emotion that I'm trying to display on video,
Yeah.
and then I'll go and make the video based on how the music's gonna go because I already know what music's gonna play.
Right.
If I don't do it that way and I have to do it reverse and I record something, I'll be hours, days, weeks listening to music because they have to marry, they have to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if they don't, it'll drive me crazy. It'll be like the Matrix, a splinter in my mind.
Yeah.
I won't be able to let it go.
So after all the jobs and everything else, how did you get into real estate with all the corporate jobs and everything
You know,
else?
I watched my wife arguing on the phone one night with an attorney.
Okay.
And I had already had so much experience with unions and attorneys through AT&T where I looked at her and I go, listen, just tell the guy this, this, and this.
Yeah.
Pull out of it, or you're going to pull out of the deal. And she's like, no, it's my client. I go, yeah, but, you know, be aggressive and you'd be surprised on how much people will bend.
Right.
And she's like, okay, I'll try it. She tried it and it worked. And she's like, yeah, thanks for helping me out. I'm like, wait a minute. I go, you do this all day? Is this what you do? She's like, yeah, this is how we sell houses. I'm like, you don't just like put a price tag on a house, put your picture because you're pretty, and somebody calls you. She's like, no, you got to deal with all the back end BS.
Right.
So I followed a couple of her deals, and I was in love. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go get my license.
Yeah.
Because if this is what you're doing, and I go, I will love to play the attorney. You know, not that I don't give anybody attorney advice,
Right.
but negotiation. I've negotiated all my life with with everything. You know,
Right.
with everything. So I love it. Everything's a negotiation.
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely. Like buying souvenirs in Thailand.
Yeah, that 300 baht souvenirs that end up being 50 when you're done. You know.
Yeah, I think that to me that's one of the funnest parts. Like this was my second time in Thailand, but I forgot how fun it is to just go up to people and just bargain. Like you bargain everything.
They have the tuk-tuks, like the taxis.
Yeah.
The guy was like 800 baht, and I looked at him and I go 200 baht. He's like 600 baht. I go, buddy, 200 baht, or I just go to the next guy. He goes, oh, well, you go to the next guy. I go, okay, no problem. Thank you. Have a good day. And as I was walking away, he's like, 200 baht, 200 baht, 200 baht. I'm like, yeah, man. I mean, come on, you know?
Yeah, dude. I was out there. I bought a watch, and the guy started like a ridiculous amount, like 10,000 baht. I was like, no, like I'll give you 1,000 baht. He's like, no, 9,000 baht. And I'm like, no, dude, I'm gonna go. I was just looking. He's like, no. He kept on going down. And he's like, all right, 1,000 baht. He goes, don't tell nobody. I'm like,
yeah, I love that part. Don't tell anybody.
Yeah, he's like,
Shh,
"Don't tell
just for you. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, buddy. No problem. Yeah.
And then sometimes you like I don't know if you noticed it, but like at the end of the day, like they like they'll give you a nod, like cool, like this guy knew what he was doing. Because like sometimes I feel like people probably do pay the full price,
Oh, yeah.
and then when you do haggle with them for a little bit, like after like at first they act mad, and then at the end after the transactions, and they smile at you like, all right, cool.
You know what I thought was funny?
You weren't a punk.
We were standing next to each other, and you had bartered something down from like 500 to 300. You bought it. You paid right in front of me. And the guy turns to me and he goes, you want one? I go, yeah. He goes, 400.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he just paid 300 for the same thing. And I was standing right here. How are you going to? He goes, oh, this one different. And I'm like, no.
It's same but different.
Same but different.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. So after so let me ask you a couple of questions I always ask everybody.
Yeah.
What advice would you today, or before that question, when you were growing up, what did you want to be? What was your, like when you were a kid, what was your dream job?
I think in the beginning, the dream was to be a director,
Yeah.
just because of the experience I had with video. As I got older, I worked for a company called VHA. Shout out to Liz Varela if she's watching. But that job was what I don't want to give. It was an Asian based company that spent a lot of time training us on self discovery.
Oh wow!
I went to a class called Reveal. The lady's name was Mrs. Jobs. She runs a company right now called Yellow Marker. she basically was in charge of breaking you down to getting you to understand what you really, really wanted in yourself and what your purpose was. It was like a weeks long class. And I'm talking about, if you've never been through a mind game where people were messing with you professionally, they got down. I mean, people were crying. People were like, ended up, it came out that people were raped. It ended up that people were abused by their parents. It ended up that I never knew my father. And it's like a lot of stuff's coming out.
Yeah. And
what they drilled down to me was my purpose in life is to be a storyteller.
Right.
And it's as minuscule or as easy as that sounds. When it comes down to it, when somebody really drills down to your soul and really gets you to admit everything that you're mad at, the stuff that you really regret, what came out of me was, came out of me in tears, that I'm a storyteller.
Yeah.
And I didn't know.
Right.
I wasn't sitting there holding that line back like, I ain't gonna tell nobody. You gotta make me cry to get this done.
Yeah.
But it ended up what's the what word do they use when something comes to fruition? I guess. Oh man, I'll think of the word. But
I know what you're talking about. It's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't remember.
Yeah, it's right there. It ended up just manifesting that I was a storyteller, which made a lot of sense with the way I handled my life and the way I deal with certain situations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I think storytelling? People think it's easy, but I think you're good at it or you're not. I mean, there's some people that you could sit there all day and they're telling you a story and it makes no sense. You're just like, okay.
Yeah, and the other thing too, people that are listening or watching, I'm not just talking about I'm good at telling bedtime stories. It goes way deeper than that. It goes with explanation and just you gotta really think about it to understanding. So in the most complex way, in the simplest form, I'm a storyteller, and everything the way I deal with my problems is with story. It's never just a direct answer. Right. I gotta give you the details.
Yeah, and I think that's what people like my friends will be like, oh, here we go, because I always tell them, like, I'll be telling them a story, but I'll be putting all these details into it. And they're like, dude, just get to the point. I'm like, bro, if I don't give you the details, you're not going to get the story. But I think that's just me in my head.
They want the steak with no seasoning.
Yeah, exactly.
It makes no sense.
You need to season the steak, prep it.
Leave it in the fridge overnight.
Yeah.
Let it marinate.
So after that question, what advice would you today, sitting here, give to little Tony back in the day, sitting across from Betty Maltese?
I would say take risks and don't listen to your parents.
Yeah.
Don't listen to your parents when it comes to what you feel that you want. Mm-hmm. And don't be afraid to fail.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to fail. A lot of the stuff that I did back in the day was safe.
Yeah.
It was very, very safe because I was worried about people judging me. I had enough of that, so I never wanted to be judged.
Right.
So when you don't want to be judged, you don't take risks, because when you fail, people point and laugh.
Yeah.
I would take more risks, and life would be different. And I feel really bad saying this, but it's the truth. I love my family. I wouldn't give up. I wouldn't change anything.
Right.
But if I was 17, I'd throw on a backpack. I'd go travel the world.
Yeah.
And I'd have a camera in the bag, and maybe I'd be doing photography, on the Fifi Islands or
right.
Or something like that. I'd be out exploring the world, figuring out who I was.
Yeah.
Because even up until now, I turned 38 on the trip.
Yeah.
And I learned so much on that trip about myself that it's like, man, who would I be if I would have learned this when I was 17, 18, 19, 20? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It's that question will never be answered.
Right.
All I can do right now is make whatever adjustments that I need to make.
Right.
Now based on what I'm learning.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, the same thing. Like, not that I wouldn't listen to my parent. I would definitely do things different. I think I wouldn't ask for so much approval from my parents. I think I would just do it.
Forgiveness versus approval.
Yeah, and I think I remember later on. I was older already. We it was a group of friends of mine, and we were on a trip. we were at a ranch in California. I remember we were drinking with all these people, and this one guy, and we were like, kind of complaining about stuff our parents or dads or stuff like that. And he goes, look, you guys need to understand. He goes, you guys should always, how did he say it? You guys should always do what your parents tell you, but not do what your parents do. He goes, your parents are always going to tell you what they think is best for you. He goes,
Yeah.
but they're human. They're always going to make mistakes. And
Yeah.
and he's like, you know what I mean? So just always keep that in mind. And it kind of did make sense to me after, and I've always kept that with me. Like, yeah, like my parents are human. You know what I mean? They're gonna, at the end of the day, they're trying to figure stuff out too.
Yeah, their opinions are antiquated, and I'll give you a really good example. I have a friend of mine that I went to high school with. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
She calls me and she goes, "Hey Tony, my son wants to be a professional gamer."
Right.
And I go, "Oh, okay, great." And I was excited. I was like, "Oh man, she's gonna let him do it."
Yeah.
And I go, "So what's the issue?" She's like, "Oh, we don't want him to play video games because he's not gonna have a career out of that." And I stopped her and I said, "Hey, wait a minute." I go, "Let me ask you a question. What's your biggest regret in life right now?" She's like, "Well, I wanted to do video." And I go, "Why didn't you do video?" She goes, "Because my mom told me that I wasn't going to be anything for it."
Yeah.
And I go, "Do you know how much money these gamers make? The good ones? They're in the millions."
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's crazy.
And it's an actual business. And I explained to her what the business model was in it, and her eyes turned backwards.
Yeah, yeah.
She cried a little bit. She's like, "I've been holding my son back the way my parents held me back."
Yeah.
And I told her, I go, "Listen, you need to go to the store and buy your son an Xbox, like tomorrow."
Yeah.
I didn't see her for like a month. A month later, when I ran into her, her son came up to me. "Oh my God, thank you so much. I don't know what you told my mom, but I have an Xbox now." And she told me, she's like, "Man, my opinion was antiquated. My opinion was old. I don't know any better. I don't know that people are making money like this."
Yeah.
And I go, "You know what? You need to let him fail.
Yeah.
Because what if he sucks at video games?"
Right.
You know what he's going to do afterwards? He's going to hang up the controller and he's going to say, "Mom, what do you think I should do now?"
Yeah.
And then it's going to be your time to shine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You need to let him fuck up a little bit, you
Right.
know? That's what I'm going to do with my kids. I know it's easier said than done,
Right.
but like my daughter is 11 and she has a TikTok account,
Yeah.
and this is real. Over the last 5 days, she's went from 20 followers on her TikTok account to like 700
Oh wow.
because she's producing stop motion animation on her tablet.
Oh,
She's
wow.
making little cartoons
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and she's voicing the characters and she's putting like and me. I mean, maybe I influenced her with all the video that I do,
Right.
but I never asked her to do that.
Right, right.
She took it, I guess maybe because it's in the blood.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
She's figured out that she likes to do it, and now like she's sweating these followers, which I feel that makes me uneasy.
Yeah.
Because now instead of worrying about her grades, now she's like, "Dad, how am I going to get to this 1,000 followers and not have their subscribers?" And I catch myself, like, "Oh, screw these subscribers. You don't go learn your ABCs, But I stop myself and I'm like, "Hey, this matters in this world right now."
Right.
So if I can help her get to 10,000 or something, her confidence level and her ability to treat it as a business
Right.
is what I want. If she's able to do that and treat it as a business, I would have taught her business the same way my father taught me business,
Right.
but just in the new age media.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
that's that.
Tony, you showed me this new platform, but I have no idea how to determine how much time we've had. So I don't know. I think we're pretty much over an hour, but
Yeah, man.
it's awesome.
This podcast 2.0 right here.
Yeah, dude. Thank you, bro. You don't know how
Hey, man.
how grateful I am for you on this one.
Nah, no worries, man. I see how hard you work at this podcast. I'm a fan.
Thank you, bro.
So anything that I can do to make it better, and anything you can do for me on mine, man.
Oh no, for sure, bro. We're gonna work on yours to make it a video one. But let's have one shot, bro. I know it's early in the morning.
Oh man,
We'll just have one for to ring in 2020.
jeez.
And yeah, dude.
Yeah, man. Let me pull out my phone
Yeah, for sure.
here.
Yeah,
It is. Oh man, why did that sound like it's 11:15 in the morning? But we're doing this shot.
Hey, but if you think about it, in Thailand right now,
It's 10:15,
it's 10:15. So
so it's okay.
So yeah, because it's still within the week from us, leaving there. So
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm recording this one. There we go.
salud.
Salute.
You got to come back on, because we have to discuss movies
Yeah.
and
I want to work on more stuff with you. Like, I would love to do a co-podcast. Like, I think we should make a new podcast that's separate from what we're doing.
I'm
Because
down.
I think we're good together on the mic.
I'm down.
I'm so down. You have no idea.
Let me stop recording.
All right, here we go.